Another violent weekend in Chicago, the ongoing migrant crisis as well in the mix, and the August Democrat National Convention. What is going to be happening? Well, obviously, there's a lot of concern, especially with some of the headlines. Welcome back, Bishop on Air. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. As we do each and every Monday, we talk with William Kelly, the reporter in Chicago, to highlight some of the headlines. And in particular, you've got a big headline that Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, he actually raised a whole bunch of money for Special Olympics with the polar plunge. And here's just some video shared by Tribe, which shows the mayor getting ready to jump into Lake Michigan.
Open up!
Cold Lake Michigan was at that time, but listen, I take cold showers after my sauna in the morning, and it's pretty good. Interesting there. All right, so a lot of pictures made, and obviously, hey, if he's able to raise the chunk of money he did, $1.9 million raised for Special Olympics, and Mayor Johnson having something to do with that. The Tribe ultimately highlighting that, and hey, it's good to help particular charities like that, no question. But people critical that the mayor did that after you had this incident happening on the streets. SubX News has video and audio of some of the teen takeover or flash mob or whatever. I'm not sure how they characterize this, but
Roosevelt
this is pretty incredible.
With a white hoodie ready eastbound towards the marshals. He is the shooter right now. Okay, getting two detained. They do have the two detained now, the Roosevelt and Canal. 7 through 9 through 3. Yeah, 4603, go ahead.
Show us heading over to Roosevelt.
Yeah, 10-4. They just said they're going to call emergency plan 2 over there. Yeah, they're going to make it an emergency plan 2, Roosevelt and Canal.
So the headlines out of this incident alarming with shots fired, and William Kelly has more on this, especially in the context of the ongoing issue of violence, and it's not even summertime yet. So let's hear from William Kelly about the latest in this case of more violence in Chicago after another weekend.
Saturday night, the night before the polar plunge that you're referring to, there was one of these flash mobs. I guess is that was a word, that was a phrase that they use now. They're calling it team gathering, but hundreds of teenagers essentially took over South Loop, and this is not obviously a good sign for summer. 2 people were shot. One critically, one fatally. So, when shots, and that's in addition to the 19 people shot over the weekend in other shootings, fatalities that took place around the city. But these gatherings are being fueled by social media. They have the what they call community outreach organizers that are supposedly being paid to monitor and try to diffuse these types of groups. Were completely overwhelmed, surprised. So, we have a situation now where 50% of 911 calls are just going unanswered in the city of Chicago. So it is obviously a concern for people who live in the city, people who saw the looting, of previous summers, smash and grabs. This is something that used to be, I guess it would have been a shocking anomaly in the past, but now it's a weekly, one-day story at best. But with the DNC coming to Chicago in August, and the fact that Pritzker and Johnson are obviously at odds about how to handle this, you can expect more flash mobs, more violence, more shooting, more fatalities.
And William Kelly also talking about the ongoing migrant crisis that continues to be top of mind in Chicago, especially with last week's headlines that a lot of personal hygiene items, including diapers, are apparently experiencing a shortage. How that plays out in the minds of William Kelly in Chicago.
Well, Greg, I mean, this deserves a little investigation. We have millions upon millions of dollars being spent, 175 million just on one migrant management company vendor, I guess you could call it alone, favored healthcare staffing. And where are the actual products to show for it? One of the products being diapers. So there definitely needs to be some accountability that typically at least begins with reporters like us asking questions. But as you well know, Mayor, I almost said Lightfoot, Mayor Johnson won't even allow me into City Hall press conferences. So I have to file complaints. I have to file FOIAs, and a lot of these are going unanswered. So I mean, that's the other thing, Greg. A lot of just the normal, kind of, course of business, FOIA requests, interview requests, being able to, get information about how millions upon millions of taxpayer dollars are being spent is just being dismissed.
So clearly, a lot of questions about the taxpayer input in this and the impact on their tax dollars. We're getting a good bang for our buck. The humanitarian issues are clearly very troubling when it comes to the questions of human trafficking and the such. But you also hear these headlines of some kind of conflict between Mayor Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. How are taxpayers being impacted by that?
Well, I mean, and people are, I think, footing the bill more than they realize. I don't know who pays your rent, Greg, but there's $41 million in addition to all of the migrant shelters, all the millions and millions of dollars that are being spent on migrant shelters. We find out now that migrants are being put in apartments. So, like I said, I don't know who pays your rent, Greg, but $41 million has already been spent putting migrants in apartments in the city of Chicago. I don't know when they're going to start complaining about the apartments, that they're not happy with their apartments in Chicago, because they're complaining, like you said, about the diapers. They're complaining about the culturally sensitive food meals that are being prepared for them. And there's even a sexual misconduct complaint against favored healthcare staffing that is, from my understanding, not being addressed. I went to the shelter last night with a camera crew to ask about it. They literally physically threw me out of the doorway. I couldn't even get inside the shelter. So if the police can't investigate, if the reporters can't investigate, I mean, this really is a perfect storm for misconduct, abuse, and corruption, Greg.
So, William Kelly, any final words? I asked him this morning, and he said he's going to be delving more into the taxpayer costs of certain types of contracts that continue to go out, dealing with the migrant crisis.
Oof. Well, those are the key points. And I can tell you right now that we are investigating where this money is being spent, and some of these allegations against favored healthcare staffing, where I'm going to be pursuing that story today.
So hopefully we can get more from William Kelly in the near future about that and more. And that's what I've got for you from Chicago with William Kelly, reporter there on the streets. So appreciate you guys being here and checking it out each and every weekday morning with Bishop on Air.